Go back to the Supreme Court story, which is one of our headline story, and the Supreme Court has ordered the EC to resume its nomination process tomorrow. And we'll go on the phone line shortly to speak with Tanam, Godfrey Tanam, who is there to give us some updates on the Supreme Court proceedings. But then the Commission has asked the Apex Court to review the lower court's judgment to hopefully bring closure to the 5 other lawsuits contested by the disqualification of other presidential aspirants. Now, the 7-member panel at the last hearing on Friday directed the parties, the EC and Dr. Indom, to file their written addresses by close of Friday, November 4. The EC rejected Dr. Pakwesi Indom's nomination, claiming the number of subscribers to his forms did not meet the requirements of Regulation 7(2)(b) of CI 94, the law regulating the conduct of the 2016 election. The phone lines to speak with Dr. Asiedu-Dartey, who is a lawyer. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for agreeing to speak with us.
Good afternoon.
Now, first of all, the EC has asked, the Supreme Court, I should say, has asked the EC to resume the nomination process tomorrow. What do you make of this?
I think it's a decision in the right direction because in the first place, the EC should have appealed against the court's ruling. And they went to the Supreme Court for finality to be brought to bear on the process. The Supreme Court has ruled and brought finality to bear. But again, it does not also mean that the window is closed, because the Supreme Court has given up to tomorrow, close of work tomorrow. It doesn't mean that whatever the parties submit, the EC must accept it. So the parties are expected to be very careful and scrutinize their documentation before they submit it by close of day tomorrow. But I would advise those who think they can do it early to do it early today, so that if there are any issues with it, the EC can peruse them and get back to them. But again, it reinforces the point that the EC would have to put its house in order by making sure that they develop an internal legal department so that they will be able to fight their cases well. But the number of cases they are losing, they are becoming too many.
Now, looking at what has happened, is this a good test for our democracy as well? And even for the political parties, you rightly mentioned that you think some of them should even start the process today and submit it today. What lessons can they pick from what has happened?
Yeah, it is good for democracy. It means that in the upcoming elections, if there are any fallout, when you go to the court, you will get justice. But again, the political parties must also learn their lessons and know that they can't be disqualified and that the laws are working. So whichever way you look at it, you cannot take things for granted. The EC is prepared to apply the rules as they are, and the courts are prepared to defend the rights and the interests of all Ghanaians, including the political parties. So I am happy for the ruling. It has indicated that rule of law is really at play in Ghanaian politics.
Going forward, what do we do as a country, as politicians, ahead of the elections? Because there were some concerns from some quarters that this could delay our electoral process and affect it in several ways. Lessons for the Electoral Commission. You've touched on it having an internal program for itself when it comes to the courts. But going forward, for the Electoral Commission, what can be done to prevent such issues from coming up again in future?
Going forward, the Electoral Commission together should work with Parliament to review or to revise the regulations that governs elections. Because I think it is because of the lack of clarity in CI 94. That is what has brought us to where we are. Again, the Electoral Commission should try as much as possible to open nominations ahead of time and give the political parties enough time. For instance, if they had given them 3 months or 4 months to enable them to go around to secure the required subscriptions, all these things will not have occurred. And again, they should not push a lot of things to the last day when we are getting to elections. When you do that, you create unnecessary tension in the country and you create unnecessary legal suits. But I am happy with the Supreme Court ruling because it has given the opportunity to all the disqualified political parties to be given an opportunity to correct their errors and resubmit by Tuesday tomorrow.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. I have been speaking with Asiedu-Dartey. He is a legal practitioner. We're looking at the Supreme Court's decision. You still